Picture this. You're standing dead center in Pripyat. The Geiger counter is screaming a 1,000-year death sentence for humanity. But hold up. The ground starts shaking. The sound of wild hooves just rips right through the dead silence of the fallout zone. Yeah, you heard me right. And get this straight right now. They are not mutants. The actual truth about these creatures is way crazier than any movie. Part 1. The Hook. The Dead Zone Paradox. Picture this. It's Pripyat. 1986 is a ghost in the rearview mirror, and you are standing dead center in the most toxic piece of real estate on the planet, the heart of the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone. You've got rusted-out Ferris wheels groaning in the frozen wind, decaying concrete monoliths, and yellow radiation signs buried deep in the toxic snow. All you hear is dead silence, suddenly ripped apart by the frantic, terrifying crackle of a Geiger counter screaming a 1,000-year death sentence for humanity. This is a wasteland, a graveyard. But then, the wind shifts, and cutting right through the static, you hear something that makes absolutely zero sense. Running wild through a nuclear apocalypse. And let's get one thing straight right out of the gate. These are not mutants. Forget the sci-fi garbage. They aren't glowing in the dark, they don't have 2 heads, and they aren't some twisted science experiment gone wrong. The truth about what's actually breathing, surviving, and running wild in the dead zone is way crazier, way more hardcore, and infinitely more badass than any Hollywood movie could ever invent. Welcome to the Paradox of Chernobyl. Part 2. The Last True Wild Bloodline. Listen to me, you gotta get this straight. The creatures stomping around that radioactive dirt aren't just some farm ponies that broke a fence and went feral. Forget your American Mustangs or those Australian Brumbies. These are Przewalski's horses. Equine experts will tell you flat out, this is the absolute last 100% pure wild bloodline left on the entire planet. Their bodies are straight-up survival machines, forged back in prehistoric times. Short, stocky, jacked with muscle, sporting dark legs and a stiff, spiked mane like they just walked right out of the Ice Age. Nobody's ever managed to domesticate them. They've never bowed down to a saddle. The willpower on this herd is a piece of iron you're never gonna bend. But here's the tragedy of it all. Despite all that raw, untamed power, they still went down to human greed. Back in the 60s, relentless, bloody hunting wiped the whole population clean off the steppes. Przewalski's horses were officially declared completely extinct in the wild. Period. Done. Not a single free soul left running under the open sky. That proud bloodline was supposed to be buried for good, just scraping by behind the cramped bars of city zoos. So here's the million-dollar question. How the hell did the rarest horse on Earth end up in Pripyat? Why did history's death row inmates get tossed right into the dead center of the worst nuclear disaster in the world? Part 3. Mission in the Dead Zone. Rewind to 1998. The scientists out at Chernobyl were staring down a massive ecological nightmare. Once humanity was forced to pack up and run from the exclusion zone, nature took over. Wild, aggressive, and totally off the leash. The weeds and brush were soaking up massive amounts of deadly radiation straight from the dirt, growing so thick they choked out every pathway. But the worst threat wasn't the plants themselves. It was the terrifying risk of devastating wildfires. All it takes is one stray spark during the dry season, and all that radioactive ash gets ripped right into the wind. It would blow straight across the borders, cranking out a second deadly fallout cloud that would blanket the entire European sky. Backed into a corner, they had to make a completely cold-blooded, do-or-die gamble. The experts needed a crew of biological firefighters, massive natural lawnmowers to chew through the toxic brush that was swallowing the zone alive. And just like that, a small herd of these incredibly rare Przewalski's horses got tossed right into ground zero of the disaster. Nobody, and I mean nobody, thought they'd make it. Everyone figured the insane radiation levels, the brutal winters, or the starving wolf packs would finish them off for good. Part 4. Paradise from the Ashes. But Mother Nature? She always knows how to pull off the ultimate plot twist. Despite all the doomsday predictions, these Przewalski's horses didn't just wither away from the radiation, they ice-cold flipped the script and flat-out refused to die. Instead of getting swallowed whole by the dead zone, this wild herd took the ruins of Pripyat and turned it into their own personal empire. Raw, primal life proudly planted its roots right on top of the ashes of human civilization. When those bone-chilling sub-zero blizzards roll in, these horses are smart enough to hijack abandoned collective barns. Those crumbling old Soviet ruins? They're now fortified bunkers keeping this herd alive through the brutal winter. And what about those massive, bloodthirsty Chernobyl wolf packs? These prehistoric tanks don't even flinch. A lead stallion will drop an earth-shattering kick, ready to absolutely crush any predator dumb enough to step to their foals. Here is the most brutal, ironic truth in history. The radiation didn't kill them. Wiping humanity completely out of the picture was actually the one and only salvation ticket for this ancient, wild bloodline. Getting rid of the cold-blooded hunting rifles and destructive plows accidentally turned the deadliest place on the planet into the greatest wildlife sanctuary in all of Europe. Part 5. The Fallout Legacy. Take a hard look into the eyes of these Przewalski's horses, striding through the gray Chernobyl dawn. They aren't just some biological miracle. They're a hardcore indictment, a living, breathing testament to Mother Nature's absolute, unbreakable iron will. Where human civilization completely crashed and burned, packing up and running in a blind panic under that radioactive fallout cloud, nature didn't shed a single tear. She just quietly stepped right in, patiently cleaned up our toxic mess, and set the order straight back up. Right out of the absolute worst nuclear ashes in history, this primal bloodline is still stubbornly rising. These are the toughest, most relentless survivors on the face of the earth. In the middle of a cursed wasteland, where every single blade of grass carries an invisible death sentence, this herd just held its head high and arrogantly told death to step aside. It leaves you with one chilling message. The wild is always going to conquer the most brutal adversity you can throw at it. Thank you for watching and supporting the channel. Your super thanks truly helps keep these stories going. If you're interested in learning more, I've added a few great books about horse history in the description below.